All right, what's going on, guys? This is how I made $8,105 day trading NASDAQ today. So before we get into it, as always, logged in on my AMP Live account, right? So AMP Live, P&L, $8,105. So now that that's out of the way, I want to take you through and show you how I got my bias for the day, how I managed my position, how I entered the position, and all that fun stuff, right? So let's go ahead and let's dive in. As always, we go from our top-down approach, daily, 4 hour, 1 hour. I'm just gonna show you how I got my bias. So the first thing I always do, right, is look at the daily chart. And as you can see, we've pretty much just been in this consolidation, right? Not a lot going on. We have come down in this imbalance here on the daily, and we've swept this high, right? And it put in a big wick, and we closed the week off on Friday right here. And so this is Monday's candle. I'll go ahead and mark it with a vertical line. And what I liked about longs for NASDAQ was because on Monday, Monday's a trade day for me usually. And we also had news, okay? So we had 10 a.m. news and we had 1 o'clock news with Powell speaking, right? And so today we had 10 a.m. news with the JOLTS job openings. But what I liked about Monday's close, right? I'm really just watching Monday to see how we close. You know, I want a clear daily framework before I drop any lower because I want my trade ideas to be based on the higher time frames. That way I'm trading and my lower time frame entries are aligning with the higher time frame order flow. So what I liked about Monday here was that we closed above this opening price, this series of down close candles here on NASDAQ. And so when we closed above it, right, I said, great, I'm expecting Tuesday now to open up like it has and then move lower in the mornings, right? And I want to see a daily profile confirm my bias for longs, right? Because the fact we closed above here, change state delivery on daily chart means that we shouldn't return back to this low, right? And so if anything, we're going to come down into this series of down close candles and probably immediately rebalance this range, right? So from here to the opening price, you can see the wick came down, immediately rebalanced, and we had a reaction off that, right? And so if I drop down to a 4 hour, you can see it in better detail. There we go, right? Price opens up here, and if I cut on the power 3, right? You can see the daily candle. Price opens up, comes down, immediate rebalance. Also digging down into the opening price, those down close candles on the daily chart, this blue line here. And you can see, right? Not only did we get a change in state delivery on the daily, but we've had it here on the 4 hour as well, right? And so if anything, I'm looking for some kind of continuation up to these highs, right? So you can see here on the 4 hour now, another change in state delivery, right? But we're not gonna get too crazy and mark out all this stuff. I wanna show you guys my trade from today and how I made 8 grand. So as you can see, right, I saw that the 4 hour price came lower, right? And so if we drop down to a 1 hour now and start looking at the sessions, you can see immediate rebalance. And at the same time, we're sweeping out Asia lows. Okay, so we're sweeping out Asia lows. There we go. And so now it's getting kind of messy, right? But you can see digging down into the down close candles on the daily. So I want to remove that. Now it's more refined, immediate rebalance. And at the same time, we're sweeping out Asia low right here on this move. And so you can see by the way the bodies are closing, right? By the way the bodies close below this low right here, they're back inside the range. So the wicks are doing the damage, but the bodies are telling the story, right? And so when I saw this and I saw that we had closed back above this down close candle, right? This hourly change in state delivery, I said, that's awesome because not only do we have a clear daily framework, right? With that Monday close above the opening price, those down close candles, but now we also have daily profile confirmation, right? So this would be your London reversal daily profile that would allow for a New York continuation. And that's what I traded to the upside. So not only do I have a clear daily framework for longs, But I also have a daily profile confirming that bias, right? So that's another confluence point. And I also have a change in state delivery on the hourly chart, right? Confirming that bias as well. So now you can see how the lower time frames, like the 1 hour, are starting to align with the daily chart and the 4 hour. So with all that being said, let's drop down a little bit lower, and I want to show you how I got my entry, right? So you can see here on the 30-minute, this down close candle. Not only do we have this down close candle on the 1 hour, remember this is the change in state delivery, but now we have a 30-minute. Now we have a 30-minute one as well. And you got to remember, we swept Asia low right here and came back inside the range. So you have this other down close candle right here that's been taking out this short-term low, right? And then now we've closed back above, and you can see on a 15-minute, if I drop even lower, how that one candle turns into two series. And you can see price hits it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. Look at the bodies staying above that. And then it starts to move higher, right? And so by this time, when I get down to the charts, it's around 8:30. So the price has already moved from London lows up to this area right here. And so what I was looking for was this down close candle to be closed above, right? And you can see it was here. But if I drop even lower, I entered on a 5-minute chart, okay? So let's drop a little lower. So with all that being said, right, you can see I sat down right at 8:30. And you got to remember, we have 10 o'clock news, but I sat down at 8:30 and kind of saw us do this little 3 draws pattern right here. And then I saw us, sorry, delete that, come down, sweep the high, come back inside the range, and then sweep out these equal lows right here. And so I really liked, it's almost like a little mini power of 3 up here in this consolidation, right? So we sweep out this low, and it's aligned, right? I want to align myself with the higher time frame order flow. So I was looking for longs. So when we came up, swept this high, and then came back and swept this low and came back inside the range, I said, great. If we close above this series of down close candles here that took out this low or these lows, that's going to be my entry to go long. That's the change in state delivery I'm looking for. And you gotta remember, right? I entered right here at 9 o'clock. So I sat through the open. I sat through all this to get my targets being hit. So let's go ahead and let's pop on the executions, right? So you can see here, right when price closed above and came down, I just market ordered in 4 contracts. And so I got in right about here, stop was below here. And then I was shooting for first partial at fixed 2R. You can see here, boom, 2 off, or half the position off at a fixed 2R. And then the rest I got off at a fixed 3R after the news came out. So boom, the rest of the position off at a fixed 3R. And so obviously, if we put that back on, actually, you can see I had to hold through this drawdown, right? And that's the price you pay for holding through 9:30 open. You can see 9:30 creates this crazy candle right here. And that honestly scared me, because I was up close to my exit up here at this level right here. And we got close and then put in a big wick, right? And if you look, that big wick hits previous day's high, right? So Monday's high here. So let's go ahead, let's mark that buy side liquidity. And what I liked about, or why I stayed in the position, obviously, is, well, 1, I'm following my plan. But 2, right, there's no need for me to move my stop yet because price hasn't run. And I'm expecting that opening range volatility to be a little crazy, right? If you're gonna enter before 9:30 and hold through it, you got to be willing to not mess with your stop. So that's one thing I did, right? I held through all this. My stop was here, didn't get tagged out, just followed the plan, and then you can see it starts to move in my favor, right? So we had this imbalance here that price dips into multiple times, obviously just tapping into it barely, and then right at 10 o'clock on this candle here, boom, you get some volatility into the market. At 10, I get out for 2 contracts, and then I'm just holding through this chop, and then finally it starts to move, and I get out right at 11 o'clock for my 3R fixed target. And so that netted me $8,105 on the day on this position. So I hope you learned a lot. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.